Alrighty, good morning everyone. It is 10:01 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. This is going to be a new video. Firstly, I just want to say once again, thank you for everyone who is watching these montage of videos of, I don't even really know what to call them. You can call them a podcast, you can call them venting, you could call them healthy, therapeutic, well, it's therapeutic for me for talking about this because I have no one really in my life to talk about this at all. Okay, so firstly, new microphone is actually on its way, going to be delivered probably around 10 p.m. according to Amazon tonight. Well, screw me. I'm going to be a little busy this afternoon, so I felt like making kind of a video right now going over Mullen, going over our morning routine. This is something that you should do for every stock that you currently are investing, currently maybe doing a swing play, possibly day trading. Just every single stock you're looking at, you should be doing this on a daily basis. I did not do any of this stuff years ago, and I kind of really wish I did. But it's always good to go through a morning routine. Although I kind of slept in a little bit this morning. The market is pretty much, well, the market was doing somewhat well until market open. We had PPI data come out this morning. It was actually less than expected, which is good because we got a hot CPI report yesterday, which pretty much triggered a meltdown, or a sell-off rather. And the overall market right now is still kind of really taking that in full blown. So PPI data was getting us a good bounce, especially after around 8:30. But right now, market is just kind of overall just bearish still, which is definitely not helping any stock out there. But Mullen is not doing some red knifing stuff like other stocks. Okay, so PPI data went over. And also, if you do have a YouTube account, think about it. Feel free to subscribe. Like I said, I don't really know where this journey is going to be taking me. Mullen has been a long story in my life for the last 2 years, and I know a lot of people watching have probably been in the same boat, but we'll talk about that momentarily. Okay, got PPI data out of the way. Let's go to Benzinga. David has not purchased any new shares. Go figure. Before we go to bar chart, hang on. Let's go to SEC filings. There's been no new SEC filings on Mullen. If you want to know how to get to these filings, just type in SEC filings in Google, MULN, and it's going to be the first thing that pops up. Stock Titan, Mullen has no new news that came out. So far, the last news was 3 days ago. Market cap is still 26.14 mil. I don't even know what day. I think maybe it's trading day 19 or possibly trading day 20. It's definitely not something like good. We definitely want to get above. But pivot levels for today. And one person did ask me, how come I don't really view other things besides really pivot levels? Because me personally, I'm more so in my life now, which I'll talk about in this later on in this video, but I'm more so a day trader, swing trader. If I was still heavily invested in Mullen, then I'd be looking further out. But I'm just looking at the charts right now. I do have Mullen shares. I don't have anything crazy. I did buy some Mullen shares yesterday because I had a good day trade. And I ended up using a couple $100 for my profits, buy some Mullen shares. But otherwise, right now, I really haven't even looked at Mullen, let alone I'm actually feeling a little bit under the weather. My dog is also sick, too. I'm sick with allergies. My dog has allergies. It's a whole absolute mess. But the good news is that I think spring has finally came. Because the weather seems to be kind of chilling out, I want to say. Okay, let me update my chart really quickly before moving over there. So we got 370 pivot level. That's actually lower than yesterday because Mullen did go down a little bit yesterday, but nothing too crazy. S1 is 390. 1 second, you all. I'm just updating my charts really quickly. R1 is 410. Yesterday the R1 was 410 too, so that really didn't change. 417. Yesterday the S2 was 420. The R2 rather. R2. Resistance level. These pivot levels are based off the previous day's high and low. So obviously if Mullen went up by 40% yesterday, these pivot levels would be significantly more broader and, you know, span out differently. Okay. So that's bar chart. Let's go ahead and move to the chart. Why am I lagging? What is going on here? And once again, my laptop was not plugged in. There we go. Okay, now I don't sense any lag. Okay, laptops need to be plugged in for maximum performance. FYI, people. Holy tamale! A lot of the market is really so. Let's go over SPY really quickly. So yeah, this juicy red or this juicy push up right here is all from the PPI, good PPI data, but we're just giving it away right now. Giving it all the way. 512 is definitely a level. Hopefully SPY bounces off of before it's this dip right here is basically the worry that PPI data was going to be negative. This dip right here from 818 all the way down, then we bounce back up. But hopefully we don't give up SPY, and hopefully SPY doesn't crash below 512. But the overall market right now is just not really performing really well. We got no news on Mullen. We're on the 1 minute time frame. We can go to 5 minutes. Just nothing is really sexy. 5 minutes is definitely not looking good. If the trend is below the 5 minute candles, it's not your friend. And I'll talk more in the second half of this video about TA, technical analysis, versus fundamental analysis. But yeah, so I mean, this is the charts. It just, stuff is not looking good. We got no news on Mullen. The broader market is pushing down. The market's been open now for just about 40 minutes. We really need to hold the S1, and even if we break, really, it's so these don't have to be perfect. You're going to see traders out there be like, oh, it has to be perfect. If we break, it has to be perfect. Right now, we have broken the S1. It doesn't have to be perfect. We can push down a little bit, but as long as we get a good bounce, and we're basically doing this all day long, like this, then that's relatively good. But if we do something, what is your problem? Come on. Okay. If we do something, I think Weeble is easier to do this crap on. All right, if we do something like this, then I hate saying it, but we are going down to the S2. And the all-time low is not a real support. It's more so a psychological level, but it does add selling pressure significantly. And then if we do not hold the S2, then we're just going to push farther down. And if we break the S3, 350 is the next level. Because the next level is really $half increments. So $3.50, $3, $2.50, etc., all the way down. So I mean, it's the broader market. The broader market right now is just not in a good position. We go over to the daily time frame. We're below this Keltner channel. Even if we pull up exponential moving averages, we're below on everything. Below the 9 EMA. I could pull up SMAs, simple moving averages, which in theory are a little different than EMAs, but I mean, they do the same thing. A moving average is going to tell you one way out of the other. And that's what the Keltner channel pretty much is. It's a moving average. I don't mean to sound negative. By all means, you can watch my previous video. I'm actually extremely bullish on the M1s, bullish on Mullen's strategy for the M1s. But we need Mullen thrives on news. Mullen thrives on collection of revenue. If we do not get news, none of this is going to do anything, guys. It just that's just how it is. I mean, if I were to make a prediction, I mean, I would probably say today is going to be a relatively red day. Do I think we're going to break the all-time low? I don't know. I can't. I don't know with it. But right now, the trend is just not our friend. I like trading stocks with all these EMAs pointed up. If all these EMAs are pointed up, it's called a pitchfork breakout on the exponential moving averages. Beautiful to trade. Right now, if you are a short, this is like your wet dream because all the stuff is pointed down. So we could go to the 1 minute, we could go to the 5 minute, we could go higher to the 15. It's not a good day for the market. It's not a good day right now. We got no news. Maybe Mullen is holding off dropping epic news because they want better market conditions. David Mitry has been accused of doing that before. But then again, any CEO has also taken that in consideration. But yeah, I mean, if you are a Mullen bull, obviously today is a dip buying opportunity, but I'm not a financial advisor. I'm not here to tell you buy or sell shares. You got to do what's best for you, but there is no guarantee that Mullen is going to go up. But I can say this from a technical chart point of view. If we get the right news, we're going to challenge this area. Why? Because we fell off a cliff from $4.61 now to below $3. So we can move well over 20% very quickly. And also, we kind of pretty much bottomed around this area right above the $4.50 type mark. So if we get the right piece of news, we're going to challenge all these candles because we went down very quickly. And then if we hold our gains or push higher with momentum, the next area to challenge is basically this area. Because we challenged all this red waterfall, but we failed. As you can see here, we pushed up. We could not hold gains. We sold off, we sold off, we sold off. And then boom, red knife. We could not push higher. But we got to challenge 460, definitely. We got to then challenge 520 is a big resistance type level. And then once we break that, we got to challenge, again, I would probably say, the high fives, and then just work our way back up tremendously around 680, around this area. Or maybe even actually, probably more so 640 type area. That's when we just crashed right down completely. So, but all this, we need news. I could sit here and I can go over the charts all day long. We need news. If we don't get news, we don't get news. It's very unfortunate. Other stocks are just selling off like crazy. Tesla, I didn't even bother doing pretty much any mapping out today. Okay, so that is pretty much the charts. That's daily updates on Mullen. Now I want to go over some stuff because I got one comment that I actually do want to talk about. Technical analysis versus fundamental analysis. And let's basically break this down really quickly. And let me pull up some interesting stuff. Okay, so let's go over some quick definitions. And by the way, I do not mean to insult anyone's intelligence. Although, if you know this stuff, a lot of times it's good to keep listening to this stuff repetitively. Like, I understand how the market semi-moves now. Because I've been basically pretty much a trader. I consider myself to be a trader well over 2 years now. However, listening to people say the same thing over and over again, it helps you become a better, more proficient trader. Even if you're talking out loud. There's been times where I've taken a day trade and I ended up walking away with 25% profits, and I'm talking to myself for like 30 minutes out loud. I'm like, okay, if this stock breaks this area, if this stock does this, if this stock does that, and then we go on the flip side, I've walked away where I've taken a 10% loss on a day trade, and I'm like, okay, Why did I do this? What was I thinking? Wrote it down in my trading journal. It's always good to listen to the same things again. So, like I said, don't mean to insult anyone's intelligence, but stock technical analysis is what I just did. Technical analysis is a trading discipline employed to evaluate investments and identify trading opportunities and price trends and patterns seen on charts. We just went over the charts. Okay, that's technical analysis, TA. If somebody says to you, are you a TA trader? If you don't know what I just did, or if you don't know how to do what I just did, you're not a TA trader, and there's nothing wrong with doing that. You got to know who you are as a trader. I'll get more into that momentarily. Let's go over FA, fundamental analysis. So, fundamental analysis is the process of examining a company's financial statements. One second. Oh, allergies. A company's financial statements to help decide if a stock is a good investment. Okay, so let's go ahead and look at Mullen. Back in when was it? They released their earnings. When did this news come out? 2/13. So Mullen released its earnings, quarterly earnings. Assets, right? December 31st, assets, 381 million assets. So, theoretically, Mullen's assets, and this is not financial advice. Why are you being a humdinger? Okay, there we go. Okay, let's go ahead, increase you. So, we got 381 mil. 381 mil. What is Mullen cap? It's market cap, not Mullen cap. I believe it's like 36. Let's just keep the numbers simple. 26 million, 381 million today. So obviously, fundamentally speaking, this is why David Mitchery says this all the time. This company is undervalued significantly. So the stock price of Mullen right now is $3.91. $3.91 times 14.65. Theoretically, if you just base Mullen off their assets, they should be worth $57 per share. Obviously, this does not take in consideration how we absolutely, it just, yeah, I mean, there's so many different things that go into this situation. But if David Mitchery came out and said, hey, look, this is how much revenue we collected, this is how much our assets are worth, blah, 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 boom, we could have a gigantic short squeeze. Because, yes, I mean, is Mullen fundamentally, sure, okay, but there's way other considerations. One, we need production update, we need collection revenue, we need guidance about how much revenue we're going to bring in, when is possible profitability. I mean, there's so many different things. So this is fundamental analysis. If you are a fundamental trader, there's nothing wrong with that. There is nothing. People become millionaires, billionaires off fundamental analysis. There is nothing wrong with fundamental analysis. 2020, 2021, I made a boatload of money by fundamental analysis. But when it came down to it, I didn't know what the hell I was doing. I just ended up taking a little over 100K in 2020, buying all the COVID stocks, and I beyond double my money at the end of 2021. It was crazy, but I didn't know what the hell I was doing. And then I started getting into companies like Mullen, and it just, it's if you don't know about dilution, if you don't know about any of that stuff, being a fundamental trader might not be best, especially for risky companies. Obviously, Nvidia, I mean, if you bought Nvidia at its top a couple weeks ago, sure. I mean, is Nvidia someday probably going to go to $2,000 a share? Absolutely. There's no doubt in my mind. But if you get fundamentally invested in a company like Mullen, you can get killed. And that's the downside to some things. But let me go ahead and show some screenshots, because I actually did find some from early 2022 when I first found Mullen. And I don't mean to be arrogant or I'm definitely not bragging. I've got pulverized in Mullen just like anyone, but gonna show some screenshots and explain why Mullen has turned me into a TA trader rather than an FA trader. Okay, so like I said, I found out about Mullen early March of 2022. I can't believe I still have these screenshots. Early March 2022, I found out about a Mullen through a YouTuber called Stock Martin. I made a boatload of money from CCIV, which is now Lucid Motors. I was buying CCIV when it was like between $20 and $24 a share. It ended up spiking right above $50, $55. I didn't sell at the top. You're never going to sell at the top. I ended up selling, I believe, around $45. So I near doubled my money. I was making but even late 2021 when the market pretty much crashed in early 2022, I was still making tons of money. I started experiencing casualties being FA, a fundamental analysis, about summertime in 2022. My strategy of buying stocks and holding was failing because that's how I made a ton of money all throughout 2020 and also 2021. You cannot compare market conditions, but I honestly, hey, I'll go ahead and have the balls to say that I didn't know what the hell I was doing, and I didn't. I was using all my free capital in my account to basically do day trades and swing trades on Mullen like a dum-dum. Now, I was making a boatload of money. Mullen was absolutely incredible. At this time, Mullen, I think, was right above like 60 cents per share. Pre-split, pre-3 stock splits adjusted. And, yeah, I was just doing absolutely just nuts. It was just absolutely just nuts. The returns, and Mullen, this was the 700% run that Mullen went on. It was just absolutely incredible. It was euphoric. Everyone was making just a boatload of cash. Mullen was everywhere. The hype of Mullen was incredible. You could throw thousands of dollars at Mullen and you'd be walking away completely. It was absolutely insane. But March 21st, I ended up getting locked in. That was the last big buy of Mullen. I ended up buying Mullen right above $4 a share. And I held my position all the way up until May 3rd, 2023. And I was dollar cost averaging down. All the profits that I made from Mullen was pretty much gone. And that's my story. And I got murdered by FA on Mullen. If I knew about TA, I would have never held on to this. First of all, I would have not been day trading with this much cash on my profile if I knew about TA. And I would have cut my losses significantly sooner, but it happens. I thought Mullen was going to have a gigantic. So did everyone out there. Look at this screenshot. The good old days of Mullen go up by 18% on one day. Then in after hours, another just about like you if you bought this stock early in the day, you would be up by 40%. It was awesome. The euphoria behind Mullen back during this time was amazing. So here is my learning experience in a nutshell very quickly. And this video, of course, is long. I'm a rambler, yes. Mullen has turned me into a TA trader. And I don't know if I'm ever going to go back to being an FA because I went to a day trading academy last year. And I basically was very humble and I'm like, look, I got my ass pulverized. And the first week that I spent in this day trading academy is all about learning about who you are as a person and who you are as a trader. Let me ask anyone watching this video. If you had the opportunity to have a $250,000 profile of just cash, so you had $250,000 worth of cash, just cash, of buying power, no assets, just cash. or you had the option to have $2,500 of buying power, and you would have 99% of your profile invested into stocks. If I ask that question to the average person, believe it or not, the average person would say, hey, I want $2,500 worth of stocks. I want a profile diversely invested. So you're talking roughly around 25K and maybe 10 different style of stocks. Okay. And by the way, you don't know the stocks that are going to be invested. So it's kind of a double-edged sword here, because I say to you, hey, $2,500 of cash and 99% of your money is invested in stocks, but you don't know what stocks they're invested in, or you just have straight $250,000 worth of cash. The average person is going to say they want a invested profile because the average person doesn't know about stocks like Mullen. I never knew what a reverse stock split could do. I never knew what dilution could do. I never knew how Mullen would come out with an offering at $4.20 like they did in late March of 2022, saying, hey, we're gonna start diluting. And then Mullen asked its shareholders to approve a $5 billion float. I never knew what that would do to the stock price. Mullen's outstanding shares back in, I believe, when they became public, was only about, I think, like 15 million. They diluted their shares from like 15 or 20 million to 5 billion. I think actually with all the reverse stock splits, they diluted like $8 billion worth of shares. I never knew what that would do. If a company like Nvidia did that, everyone would turn on them. Nvidia would not be worried. There would be like no bulls in Nvidia. So the average person does not know about dilution, and that's the reality. I did not know any of this stuff, and I've learned so much. But Mullen has made me into a TA trader, because 2 years ago, if I had that option, if you said to me, $250,000 of a invested profile, I would pick FA. However, now I would say no, give me the cash, because I'd rather have $250,000 worth of cash. And if I see Mullen drop phenomenal news, I'm going to go ahead and probably buy in significantly and do a trade. If I see other stocks, like me personally, I'm a Palantir bull. If Palantir goes back down to $16, $15 before their earnings, I'm gonna be buying heavily. That's me. So I believe having cash on the sidelines is the best way to go. That's my own personal point of view. Obviously, there's people out there that are different, but one of you all left a comment saying that Financial Ernie is definitely the fundamental analysis guy, 100%. His videos are very well done. I'm definitely the TA type of guy. Why is it good to listen to both sides? Because you get two different points of views, and sometimes looking at both sides of the spectrum is good. I did not look at the technicals back in March of 2021 at Mullen, or rather April of 2021, because April, I believe Mullen was already near like $3 again. They crashed from like $4 all the way down to $3. And I was already holding a bag. And I'm like, well, shit, what do? Do I sell or do I hold? And I chose to hold. Should have sold, but I chose not to. And that's the whole thing about it, is that it's good to look at two sides of the spectrum. Fundamentally speaking, Mullen is so undervalued, so beaten down. Technical point of view, Mullen is on a downward trend and spiraling to death. But how do you want to? What do you want to do as a trader? You know, that's what it comes down to. You got to do you, and you got to do what's best for your life. What's best for me is to continue to day trade, continue to swing trade other stocks. Me personally, I might nibble back into Mullen a little bit, buy some here and there, but who knows? I am hoping that we get a production update maybe tomorrow or maybe next week. That would be amazing. I honestly don't know if we will ever get our money back from Mullen, but this is my story. And yes, I do consider myself to be a TA type guy. I look at technicals, I look at pretty much everything chart related. Fundamentally speaking, Mullen can explode if these vehicles sell, or if we get something out of the blue. I don't know if we will. Do not buy shares based on this stuff. But if Mullen gets a huge purchase order from a big commercial company, oh man, with no strings attached, and it's good news, great news. If Mullen got a PO, purchase order, and they're like, hey, we're gonna front you money, oh, that would be amazing. That would be absolutely catalytic. I don't know if it's coming. Hopefully it does, but that's pretty much about it. Anyone watching these videos, leave some sexy and awesome comments. What your take on things? How would you respond? Or do you consider yourself to be a TA trader or a FA trader? Typically, a TA trader is like an actual trader. I'm in a unique situation in my life where I could literally just be a trader as a profession, but other people out there that choose to be an FA, and no disrespect to anyone, typically it means that you have a full-time job other than trading. And in 2020, 2021, I pretty much did. And so I was heavily with fundamental analysis. The vast majority of people are going to choose FA because they have a full-time job, and that's great. Business Dad on YouTube, he's a FA trader, not a TA, even though he does go over but he goes over the charts long term. He has a business, he has a YouTube Patreon group, so in his eyes, it makes more sense to be FA, finding, and all the stocks that he's called out have been winners. The only one has been Mullen, but anyone that's covered Mullen has been only the... Oh, I can ramble on for hours. I think I'm going to wrap up this video, but yeah, let me know in some sexy comments. What would you do? $250,000 of invested stocks, or just $250,000 cash in your stock portfolio? I'm curious. Please let me know. Otherwise, hopefully Mullen stabilizes today, and I'll catch you guys probably tomorrow. All right, take it easy, everyone.